It's so amazing to be at Wanderlust. I mean, when I came in here, it was just the nature and being in here, it's so beautiful. And the positive energy, how many of you felt that? And how's your experience going? It's going well? Awesome. And let me ask you, just since we're talking about energy, how many of you have ever felt exhausted and you needed more energy? Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you. And how many of you have ever been in a bad mood and just wanted to be able to shift your mood like that? Yeah, that I can definitely relate to that too. So today, what we're going to talk about is how your gut is connected to your emotions and your energy levels, and really what we have control over to gain more vitality, more confidence, and really more health. And so as Katy was saying, my name's Katy Kvalvik. We're both Katy Ks. And I'm an integrative executive coach and speaker, and I'm the CEO of the Harmony Method Group and the founder of the Harmony Method, which is an integrative leadership and total lifestyle system blending ancient wisdom with modern science. I'm so excited to be here, and I really want to thank you because I know you have a lot of sessions to pick from, and you chose to spend the next 20 to 25 minutes with me, and I really appreciate that. And so today we're going to talk about some integrative health and lifestyle strategies and tools, and really how our mind is connected to our body, and what we can do about that to really improve and to also get results and have them be sustainable. We're also going to be talking about the Harmony Method and just some pieces of the Harmony Method, and just where do we start this journey of really being able to heal from the inside out, and to really be able to age gracefully and to feel and look and to just have that abundance amount of energy that we want. And so you guys ready to get started? Yes. Yay! All right, so the Harmony Method. So what is the Harmony Method? As I was telling you, it's an integrative leadership and total lifestyle system, and it's really looking at holistic healing and modern science and blending those few things. We have mind, body, and life. And so the mind, body, life, there's really 6 subcategories, how it's all connected. So the first category is physical. And so in our physical bodies, we need to focus on a few things. We need to focus on nutrition. We need to focus on getting better sleep. We need to focus on how do we do fitness and exercise for our bodies and who we are. And also just little things of lifestyle and how that flows. And really our physical body is the foundation and the roots and our solid foundation to really build the other subcategories that we're going to go over. The next category is really emotions. And when we're looking at the emotional part of it, it's really looking at, what's your emotional IQ internally and externally? And have you ever felt like you're ever on an emotional roller coaster? I know I felt that. And so it's really looking at how we can work with the emotions and integrate them and really be able to feel. Because a lot of times in our busy lifestyle and we're going, it gets a little stressful, and we want to be able to slow down and really be able to connect on a deeper level. The next category is going to be the mental. So it's mindset, mental endurance, confidence. Do you have mental clarity? Can you be able to focus in? This is really important, and it all is connected to the mind, body, and life for all 3. And then the next 2 categories are like these subcategories that connect everything, and that's the environment and your relationships. So the environment's really important. Do you live in a supportive environment where is everything organized in your house, in your life, so that you can flow? Do you have clutter? Do you experience, frustration? Also, your environment of your community. Do you have people that support you? So really looking at that internal environment as well when we're healing ourselves, and to be able to really have awareness and connection to that. So the external, too, is really of a reflection of that. And then we have relationships. So relationships is a really big thing. It's our relationships to everything in life. And these are called bonding mechanisms in psychology. And that's really on an internal and an external level. And, what's our relationship in social, in personal and professional relationships? And then also it's our relationship with food and looking at relationships on all levels and being able to see that from our filters and being able to have our lenses and be able to see that. And then the last category is spirituality. And spirituality is really, I leave it up to you and having your own definition. And it's really looking at that you are clear on your life purpose and that you know your values in all areas of life and your hierarchy of values, and knowing that information about yourself, how that really connects all aspects. And so as we go through the Harmony method, and today what I gave you is you have a postcard, and I'm going to go over this at the end as well, but I gave you a free toolkit of the Harmony method, which has about 18 free videos just going through the step-by-step of more the specifics that I can't go into in this lecture. And it'll really get you and set you up for success so that you can really, if it's weight loss or stress reduction or you want better sleep or you're looking just for all-day energy, it's just taking things to the next level, like what is it to be optimal in all areas of your life? And so that's something, too, that you'll be able to sign up for that will make it easy. So how did I get to the Harmony method? So this is a picture of me about 10 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago, and this is me about a year ago. And so about 10 years ago, I was a corporate sales executive in the medical device field. And I was in implantable endovascular and peripheral devices, and I also was a competitive triathlete. And I was at the spot in my life that I felt like I had really made it. And I'd been this achiever my whole life, been working really hard, and I really felt like I was in this flow. And one day, I was on my bike, it was a sunny day, with a bunch of cyclists, and out of nowhere, I was smashed from behind, and I went flying, and when I woke up, I had 2 herniated discs, I had a concussion, my hips went out of alignment, and I partially tore my ACL and MCL. And really, my first thought was, wow, there goes my workout regimen. So I was in denial. How many of you have ever been in denial about something? Yes, so I can relate to that. And I was really trying to use these old strategies that had worked for me as an achiever model to just push through. So instead of taking time off, and my orthopedic surgeon said, let's try physical therapy before we have surgery, I went back to work way too soon. And about 3 months to that date, I was on the way to a meeting, and out of nowhere, from behind, I was smashed again. And this time the accident was the back end of my car went into the front of my car, or the middle part of my car, the back windshield shattered, and my seatbelt didn't catch me, so I hit my head very hard on the steering wheel. And to make it worse, it was a hit-and-run accident, so the car went around me and left the scene. And so I was raced to UCLA, I thought I broke my neck, and luckily I did not. And at the same time, the doctors didn't know what to do with me because I had injuries on top of injuries on top of injuries. And so this really started this lifestyle, basically, of me going from doctor to doctor to doctor. I was seeing orthopedic surgeons. I was also seeing a neurologist and a psychologist. I was diagnosed with PTSD, and I was having memory issues and just mental clarity issues. And I also gained about 20 pounds, which I have actually a very petite frame, so 20 pounds, I was about 8 to 10 pounds more than I am now, was a lot for me. And I started taking a lot of anti-inflammatories. That was kind of the protocol. And in that, you'll learn a little bit more about me. When I was a teenager, I had massive amount of sinus infections where I took a lot of different antibiotics. And that was kind of the protocol with my sinus infections and also having acne. And my digestion just fell apart. And I was diagnosed with IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. And so every single time I ate, I would get bloated or had gas, and it was just this inflammation that was unbearable. And I really stood on this for 20 months. I just really tried to work through it, and I would crash on the weekends and basically crawl to the bathroom because I was in so much chronic pain. And when I hit rock bottom, I realized that when I was looking up at the ceiling, that I'd been so external with my healing, that I always was asking other people who I was and what was going on with me, that I'd never gone internal and really asked myself, what's going on? And also, I never had committed to my healing. So in that moment, I committed to my healing, and in the next 3 months, I healed more than I did in 2 years. And it really sparked this to start traveling the world and studying with different leaders and doctors and healers and just learning their integrative strategies and doing a massive amount of experimentation and learning all their strategies. And it also motivated me to go back to school. So I went back to school, and the first thing I did was become a certified yoga instructor. And that was great. I was in India and doing a few different teacher trainings, and I started feeling a lot better. And then I went back to school and became a board-certified health counselor. And so I studied over 100 dietary theories and learned, just did, a massive amount of experimentation. And nutrition, it really helped just learning about it because I was really a sugarholic growing up, refined sugar, that is. And especially being an athlete, most people don't know this, but I could eat 24 cookies or have a gallon of ice cream with no problem. And people look at me and they're like, no. I'm like, yes, I can eat. And so the nutrition portion really helped. And I got really curious about the mental and emotional aspect. So I went back and became a certified executive coach, and then ultimately became a trainer of neurolinguistics programming, which is NLP. And then also did a number of certifications. One was mental emotional release techniques, and then a lot of different energy work and energy modalities, and just learning these integrative strategies. And a few years ago, I got really curious because most of my teachers and masters that I was learning underneath, they were in their 50s, 60s, or 70s, and they had energy and vitality of someone in their 20s. They looked like they were in their 40s without plastic surgery, and they were all living their life purpose. So I got really curious, because that's my nature, and I started asking them questions and learning more strategies and doing more experimentation on myself. And I created the Harmony method out of those strategies and then all my experiences and learning, what are the easiest step-by-step strategies from all these systems of information. Because something that I learned by traveling the world and studying with so many different people and studying ancient wisdom to all the modern different theories is that I'm able to go into systems of information and be not attached to one way and really look at how they're all connected. And so the Harmony method is really a way of life. I don't believe in a cookie-cutter approach, and I believe that it should be a flexible blueprint. And the videos that are in the postcard that I gave you in the online programs that are free for you really goes into more detail of the step-by-step flexible blueprint. And I created it for two reasons. It was really that I had such frustration trying to get on these stricter dietary theories that I needed to get on to deal with my candida and IBS because I was so addicted to sugar. And so I really wanted to come up with methods to show people how to titrate and really be able to transition, which is so much easier on your body. Whenever you make any changes on your body, it's stressful, even if it's for health. So we really need to be taught how we can do these step-by-step strategies to get the results and to really have sustainable results. And to let you know, I've healed my body completely, and it's really amazing that if I, to me, it's been a blessing at this point, and such gratitude. And my life purpose at this point is to be at service, and so that people don't have to suffer the way that I suffered. And so when we're looking at energy levels and just kind of looking at the mind, body, and gut and how it's all connected, this is a graph that is really important and a huge takeaway. And it's really simple to understand. So when we're looking here, our cortisol levels, which is cortisol, we naturally create cortisol if we're in a high stress situation, or even some stresses can be really good and be motivating. But cortisol is the highest from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. So this is a typical standard American of what we go through, or international too. We wake up, and the first thing we have is coffee or tea, and so it really jacks up our glycemic levels or our energy, like insulin levels, and then we crash, and then around 10:30, we want to eat something, and so we get a little bit more energy, and then it's time for lunch, and right before lunch, we might be a little tired, a little anxious, and then we have lunch, and we have this, little energy because it's we have some food, but then we crash. How many people around 3 p.m., they're ready to have something that's a little sweet, or coffee, or tea, or something to get through the rest of the day? So that's something that's really typical, and then we kind of crash, and we go up and down until we go into sleep. How many people have issues with sleeping? Or have just having 8 hours of complete sleep, you're in that dead sleep, phase 4? Okay, so when we look at, what are these strategies on the flip side that we have this amazing natural energy when we wake up, and then we have energy all day that's consistent and stabilized, and then we just naturally get tired. So this is, to me, the aging gracefully plan, and really how to stabilize your stress and how to start looking at inflammation and energy levels. So we'll be going into that as we break this down. The second thing I really want to look at in the beginning whenever I'm working with someone or even a team of people is I'm looking at the subtle, and I'm looking at the root causes. So the root causes might be something like stress, or having leaky gut, or having just more of these concrete root causes versus the signs and symptoms. Signs and symptoms might be headaches, might be bloating and gas, or skin irritation. Has anyone ever experienced skin irritations? I know that was something that was really huge for me when I was having gut issues. And so when we were starting to slow down, I call it slowing down to speed up. In the beginning, we kind of just want to be able to slow down. And in this time and age, we are moving quick. We are in the information age. We have so much information at our fingertips. And at the same time, it's kind of overwhelming. And we don't really have a time to slow it down. And that's why it's so amazing to be at Wanderlust, because we're really getting that chance to slow down. And so when we start looking at those root causes, we really have to look at the 11 systems of the body and how they're all connected. And a lot of times we've been taught they're separate. And what we're going to do is just break down a few of these systems today, but I'm going to try to show you how it's all connected and how it all works together. And then it's also having awareness of just even where your internal organs of the human body are. So a lot of times I'll get people that come in and they see me and they say, oh, I have a stomach ache. And this is where their small intestine is. And so our stomach is actually up here. So it's learning, our liver's here, our stomach's here, our pancreas and spleen are over here, and then we have our gallbladder underneath the liver, and then we have the small intestine, and the digestive system is about 32 feet long, which is amazing. And then we have the colon, or the large intestine, and then we have the bladder, and then we have the kidneys, and then our lungs are on our back. So a lot of times I'm working with people, and just the first step is just awareness, so that we can gain clarity and really start looking at how our mind and body are all connected. Because the mind is in every one of our cells, which I'm going to be breaking down, and we're going to be looking at. The next thing I really look at is the nervous system. And I love this chart because it starts showing how it's all connected. And our nervous system, we have 12 cranial nerves, and the main nerve I look at is the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is what connects the digestion and our heart and regulates our heartbeat. And we can see how all the organs are connected with the nervous system. And we really have the peripheral nervous system, the PNS, and then the central nervous system. And then part of the PNS, we have the autonomic nervous system. So we have the parasympathetic nervous system and then the sympathetic nervous system. And when we're looking at healing, we really have to slow down. So it's about going backwards to go forwards. So it's destructuring to restructure. And so the parasympathetic nervous system, just being able to breathe and to focus on the exhale, it calms our system down. Because if we're in high stress, we're going to be releasing a lot of cortisol, and our blood is going to go to our extremities, and it's really going to go away from digestion. And it's going to create inflammation if it's chronic stress. And it's also going to do a number of other things. And our nervous system, over time, we become even more reactive to simple things we weren't reactive to before. And so when we're looking at the digestive system, and this is a chart I use with every client and when I'm also teaching, it's really looking at, I'm going to just go over this really briefly. This is something, again, there's more information on the online programs. But it's looking at that our when we chew our food and it goes down the esophagus and goes into the stomach does not have teeth. And so the stomach is more like a dishwasher. And so it's really important to chew your food and to make it into the smallest particles possible, because once it gets to the small intestine, we have these little finger-like projections that are like vacuums that take out the nutrients, and they're the size of one hair. So you need to really pulverize your food. This is something really important. I know all of you've heard your whole life that you need to chew your food. And this is really about, slowing down at meals and to really be able to pulverize to get the nutrients so that you can actually absorb and assimilate the nutrients, and so it can go to all the cells. Once it goes through the villi, it goes through the portal vein and it goes to the liver. So the liver that's here, and then the liver distributes wherever you have a deficiency or you need for your cell growth and anything else, it goes to the rest of the body. And then the rest is in the colon, and in the colon and in the whole body, we have, when we transition to cells in the microbiome, we have about 10 trillion cells in our body. So can you imagine what it would be like to have $1 trillion and how amazing that would be? Think about, we have 10 trillion cells. This is so much. And what's crazy is the microbiome, which really composes of all the genes, bacteria, viruses, and fungus. This is a 10-to-1 ratio to cells. So we have, they're predicting 100 trillion microscopic microbes that are in our gut and in throughout our whole body, every surface that we touch, that are communicating through the vagus nerve to our brain to really be able to have that communication. To, if you're hungry, if you're thirsty, whatever is going on, to have that communication. And they're really linking this to so many different things right now that's very exciting. And so I have down here a happy little bacteria and then a one that's a little like out of it. And what the research has shown is that we really want about 85% good bacteria and about 15% neutral or not so good bacteria, because our immune system, it's about 70% of our immune system and our lymph nodes live in the digestive tract, and that makes sense because we want, the pathogens when we eat, we want our immune system to be able to fight those. And if our microbiome is off, that percentage is off, there's many different things that can start happening, which we're going to go over. And so in this, again, I just want you to get an idea. You don't have to memorize any of this information. Today is all about just having an idea how it's all connected. And so the number one thing that I see in my practice is leaky gut syndrome. Has anyone heard of leaky gut syndrome? So leaky gut is, it's pretty amazing, and a lot of autoimmune disease states are connected to it. And I'm not going to be able to go in this today, but looking at the nervous system and the HPA axis, and then there's also two other axes, this is all being linked to causes of leaky gut, and it really starts with things that are causing inflammation. And so 10 years ago, when I was in the medical device field, we were finally getting outcomes data on inflammation and mortality and cardiovascular disease states. And it was the first study that came out showed that C-reactive protein, which is inflammation marker, was related to mortality. And so now we're really learning how inflammation is the beginning step and to so many different, how it's linked. And so other things that are linked to leaky gut, just triggers, are dietary proteins. So most protein has antibiotics and has the protein, the animal protein is also the cows and the different animals eat GMO products, which makes them sick, and they also take hormones and antibiotics. And so this is all creates an imbalance, especially when we're eating that toxic dietary protein. Another thing is just low HCl and enzymes, so especially if we have stress, that's going to go down. Antibiotics is a big thing, infections, blood sugar issues, so again, the up and down all day that I was talking about. And then also just antibiotics, and then also looking at pregnancy. So if you were a cesarean or natural birth, they're linking that if you were cesarean, that you can have leaky gut or have issues with your gut health. And then also just pollution and toxins, and then food allergies. Does anyone have sensitivities or food allergies in here? Yeah, the food sensitivities are the hardest, because usually allergies, which usually is gluten, dairy, nuts, different, those are the main things, but you usually know when you have an allergy. It's really the sensitivities that become the hardest thing, and that can really build in the inflammation. And then we have stress. So leaky gut, what are the signs and symptoms that happen because of leaky gut? And so we have, with our brain, we have that mental fog, and so we can have depression and anxiety or even ADHD and really have not be able to have mental clarity. And then with skin, it's just anything to do with like a rash, with acne, thyroid, we have Hashimoto's, and so that's really working with hyperglycemic and hypoglycemic as well. So looking at those different levels. With the colon, it's constipation and diarrhea and IBD and IBS. And then joints, having pain, chronic pain in arthritis, and then just pain in our joints and headaches. and also sinus things. So I had really bad sinus problems, and so I didn't realize that was all connected, and really looking at that. And so in the online programs, I really go into more of the mechanisms of how this happens, but it basically, a short preview is that we have a protein called zonulin that over time, because of these triggers, it gets weakened. And so we have particles that are too big that get into the bloodstream. And so if you look at Ayurvedic or traditional Chinese medicine, before they go in and try to diagnose you with anything, they're looking at the lymphatic system and your blood and looking at how well it's moving, if there's stagnation. And this is one of the things they're looking at. And so here are just some takeaway tips for today and some things that you can apply right away. And so I already talked about slowing down to chew your food and why that's important. The Harmony Method's really about being open and flexible to change and really embracing the middle path. And so a lot of times when we're high achievers or we're in this go, go, go model, we have, we'll really want to go these extremes. And so we have extreme highs and extreme lows. And so it's really about going inward and finding that middle path, because that's where it's going to be sustainable. And it's also, I always think about one of my teachers. He would say how, if you have high expectations, high disappointments. So what is it to be in this place where we can really flow at the middle path and define that? Eat organic, local, and seasonal foods as much as possible. Our bodies are made to eat seasonal foods, and especially when it's locally grown. And organic, also, GMO and genetically modified organisms were not the toxins and pollutions that go into that, and just having that, your body doesn't know what to do with it. And when you eat an organic, seasonal, local food, it's like a symphony, it's harmony. Your body knows what to do with it, and it's very easy to digest. You want to omit or limit refined grains, refined sugar, and refined salt. And then eat prebiotics and fiber at every meal. So the average American gets 10 milligrams of fiber, and we really need to get it up to 35 to 50 to really be healthy and to prevent constipation and to really be able to feed the microbiome, because that's what they feed on, and to clean and to really be able to also have circulatory and coronary health. That's all related. And then we also want to incorporate probiotic-rich foods and drinks into our diet. So this is like fermented foods or drinks that have probiotics. And we're really looking at, with probiotics, what I've seen is about 50 to anywhere to 100 billion probiotics a day. And so anywhere we can get that with drinks and food and adding that, that's going to really help with digestion. A few other things we're going to do is stay hydrated. So most people, when they have that craving at 3 p.m., so remember when I said you drop, a lot of times we're really dehydrated. And so I always say drink a glass of water. So before you go for that coffee or tea, because what happens in the morning too, when we wake up, we should really have 2 glasses of warm water, because we're the most dehydrated after 8 hours of sleep. And so warm water really opens up the body and really makes it so that your metabolism gets started and that you get hydrated, because we really need water for so many different reasons. Our body's about 70% water. And so if you're ever having cravings, really check in. The first thing I look at is, am I dehydrated? If I have a headache, am I dehydrated? Because that's going to cause constriction. Take digestive enzymes before each meal. This is something, again, in the Harmony Method, I explain this more in the online programs, because it's really about honoring your self, and to me, digestive enzymes really work for me. So that's something to look at too, and that can really help break down the food, especially if you're having anything irritable with bloating or gas. This will really help. Get movement daily. So even walking, because when we walk, how our hips, our alignment, and our small intestines, remember we have 30 feet that's happening with the small intestine and large intestine and the whole digestive tract. That movement massages the food so that we can really have it get it moving, and so we're not constipated, and then we also can get that circulation going. Practice stress relief. And this is something I go into detail with the Harmony Method, since my background's yoga and meditation and Qigong and Tai Chi. I really go through, what it is to calm down the parasympathetic nervous system. And the Harmony Method's created for the busy people with no time. So all the videos are like 10 minutes or less, and they're these like micro learnings so that you can really get the results you're looking for, and it's not overwhelming. This is something that's really important. You want to experiment, experience, and make it your own and enjoy. This is kind of a rule in life. You can read all these books, you can talk about it, but it's really about experimenting and having your own experience and really making it your own. And that's what I really suggest with the Harmony method or any other lifestyle that you choose. You really have to, look at the frameworks, but make it your own and be able to flow in life. And to me, it is about harmony. It's not necessarily about balance, because I think balance, you have to have like 30% this and 40% that, and then you're in the center. You should be able to flow wherever you go. And that's what I really teach about in the Harmony method. So again, this is just a review. If we can just be able to have the energy levels on the right graph, to me, this really helps with bringing the inflammation down, and it really makes it so that health and wellness becomes secondary. Because to me, my goal with the Harmony method is that you should be able to have the information, because we're not taught this in school. If you have the information to really thrive in your health and wellness, it really becomes secondary to support you on your life purpose. Your life should not be about health problems and going to doctors and being in this cycle, I call it the vicious cycle, where you're going from one thing to the next, whatever it is, whatever issue you're having. You should be able to figure this out for yourself and be able to flow so that you can really get back to what matters to you. And I really want to connect, so let me know how I can support you and how I can be at service. And again, I have a free online Harmony Method toolkit for you that's on that postcard. And that will be open till the end of tomorrow. So please sign up and get those videos, and then you'll have access to it for life. And then for a week, I'll have the 20% off all the Harmony Method online programs, which gives you so much more information about stress reduction, weight loss, nutrition, fitness, and lifestyle, and really giving you all the methods that I learned, but simplifying them so that you don't have to spend years trying to figure out this information. You can just learn from me and then be able to incorporate it into your own life. And then also I work with teams and organizations and clients one-on-one. So please let me know after this if you have any questions, and let me know again how I can support you. And I'm so excited to be here, so thank you so much for having me, and I will see you after the talk. Thank you.